All right, we don't need to do that whole deal again. Back. Sorry about that. Does anyone know what number we're up to when she was talking to this lady? Let me know.
The evening head count. I am willing to allow her Sunday through Thursday
I think we
to
did
get
this.
the laptop and is willing. I can move her to a housing unit and place her in a secure cell where no one will disturb her, and she can review and conduct case review. She will still have access to a shower. She will still have access to open day room time. She will
So are we past this part?
still have access to phones, but the review and her location will be in a secured housing location where she would be the only person in the cell.
Ms. Boone?
Captain, is this Lima dorm?
K dorm.
Kilo. So my only options are being moved to the maximum security dorm or my bunk.
K dorm is no longer a maximum security. It's a multi-purpose area with inmates of varying needs being secured and housed there.
So it is not the maximum dorm any longer.
Phone access?
And instead of having to move items from a housing area into a classroom where my officer safety and security of that classroom and
Where I have been behind the closed doors also when I was made PC when I first got to Orange County Corrections Department, and if it's anything like that, I do not ever want to have that experience again. And to be honest,
in regards to number 4, earphones or headphones, I would need to consult with legal because I don't know what the ramifications of that is.
We were up to 7, so keep going.
We've not had a pro se inmate, or at least not one that I've been responsible for, request internet access without limits. So again, I need to refer to legal counsel with legal counsel and my chain of command to get guidance on that. Regarding number 6, a word program, we've not had a pro se inmate, again, myself, that requested access to a word program. I would need to consult counsel, legal counsel, and my chain of command for guidance before we could make a response. Number 7, telephone access. In her statement here, as you are aware, my dorm contains payphones only and are limited to only 15 minutes per call, which are collect. I need to be able to communicate on a regular, normal phone to make all necessary calls. Hold on, I'm turning the page. For my case to use in trial. I have no other way to contact anyone that is not collect, which incredibly, I believe that's diminishes. I don't know what the other word is here. If not all of my opportunities to properly prepare. The phone system that we currently have in the jail for the inmates to access is as is. I don't have the ability to make any modifications. Number 8, discovery hard copies. It seems that Ms. Boone already has access to her hard copies. The concern I have to do now is do some research with legal and my chain of command, because that quantity of paper can potentially become a fire hazard. And we have standards in place. And Judge, I'm not certain if you're familiar with the Florida Model Jail standards, but the quantity of paper is actually the problem. So we may have to come back to the table for a different type of resolution regarding the two cases of paper discovery.
All right. Ma'am, do you have any questions regarding Captain Giovanni's and the Orange County Jail's position with regard to the earphones, headphones, internet usage, word processor, telephone, and the concern regarding the hard copies and it being a fire hazard?
I do, and I was also including number 3, the classroom utilization. I just want to make it clear and in open court that I want to have the understanding with everyone that it is an option of mine to decide to remain on my bunk with this discovery in the laptop, and it is or my option to be moved, but I have the ability to make that decision.
Judge, I have no objection to that. I am not looking to impede anybody's ability to access to a general population housing unit. I was simply offering an option that would be amenable to security and potentially Ms. Boone.
All right.
Okay. Am I able to proceed?
You can.
Thank you. So for my understanding right now, you need to speak to your legal counselor in regards to the headphones, the internet, the Word program, and the discovery hard copies, which I already have. Is that correct?
And telephone access.
Oh,
You want unfettered telephone access, if I read your letter correctly.
reasonably, I would like to have access to a regular phone. It could be 1, maybe 2 times a week where I save all of my calls for a particular day. I'm always up for solutions, just whatever it is that I can do in order to progress properly. And
Always up for solutions. Now that's freaking laughable.
expeditiously, I'm trying to do so by having this where I am confused why this was not all solidified prior to the implementation of the laptop. So I'm waiting for whatever it is that I can do to fully access and become a pro se defendant and inmate. Do you know when, how long the deadline might be for the open-ended items that I would be waiting for?
Judge, this is Scott Shepard. I'll chip in with the legal piece. The legal piece of it is simply that she's a pro se inmate. She's not the first pro se inmate that the jail has had. We've had several. And the issue is whether or not there's any constitutional or statutory violation with what we provide pro se inmates. And I would argue that there's not. She has access to the court as required by the law. Everything she wants is over and above what our typical stance is for pro se inmates, and all those policies are in place for a reason. But somehow she wants to go beyond that, and she wants all this extra consideration, more than anybody has ever been given, frankly. And at the end of the day, again, it's a constitutional question. Is it a violation of her constitutional rights, the restrictions we have in place? And I would tell you it's not.
Is that a position, Counselor, that you're taking today because Captain DiGiovanni had stated she needed to consult with legal counsel as to the issues of the headphones, internet, word processing, telephone issues? Is that the position that you're taking today, or is that something you need to further investigate to have a final position as to that?
No, that's my piece of it from the legal end. Now, of course, she's got to talk to her folks as far as the security end of it, because a lot of those things are in place because of security concerns. But from a legal concern, I can easily answer that today. And the answer again is, legally she's allowed access to the court. and all these other things that she wants. And really, and I'll tell you what the case law says. The case law says if she's pro se, she's entitled to get, a paper, a pencil, and some stamps and some envelopes and those types of things. The idea that she wants unfettered access with the phone and she wants to make calls all day and night. At the end of the day, I'll also say there's case law out there that says, she's gone through, I think, 8 attorneys in this case, and she had several attorneys appointed to her case, and she's kind of put herself in this position today. And the case law is not real favorable to folks that put themselves in that position.
Yeah, so legally, shut your dumb face. Have a nice glass of shut up juice.
Ma'am, do you have any other argument with regard to these requests as to the headphones, internet, word processor, or telephone?
So my understanding is that I'm being penalized by Orange County Corrections Department because of their misunderstanding in regards to my, in quotes, 8 attorneys prior. Is that why I'm unable to have anything in order for myself to properly represent myself as a pro se defendant and inmate of the Orange County Corrections Department?
I'm not going to answer that
Not
question.
being penalized, just the opposite. She's being treated like every other pro se inmate in the institution. She's not being penalized at all. She wants consideration over and above what everybody else has.
If I may please, what is over and above? What other pro se inmates, what is it that they've asked for? I don't see how they could successfully even represent themselves without internet and a regular working phone. And I'm pretty sure that they were not able to complete their case and the successful outcome that they were hoping for by being provided simply papers and pens.
Counselor, if you
I'm not sure if she's asking me a question. I don't know if I'm a witness in this case or if she's trying to ask me a question.
I'm not, you're just simply the attorney for
Right.
one of the participants, sir. If you're under no obligation to answer that question. You are just providing your legal position with regard to the Ms. Boone's demands and requests.
Right.
They're simply requests. And I'm not sure who it might be that could answer my question, please, in regards to what prior or present other pro se
No one's answering your question, asshole. You had 8 attorneys to do that. Shut your face.
defendants and inmates have requested, so I might have a guideline of something to go with forward. And I, again, do not know what is above and beyond simply asking for more than paper and pens in order to properly and rightfully and lawfully represent myself.
Counselor, to the extent you want to respond to that, you can.
Yeah, I mean, Judge, like I said, we've got tons of pro se inmates that have come through, that are there right now, that have come through the jail, and they get standard treatment. And she wants a lot of things that are over and above that. For instance, again, unfettered phone calls. She wants to keep things in her cell that she can't normally keep, that they wouldn't allow folks to keep. So there's a lot of issues. I mean, that's a wide open question. But, can I speak to everything that everybody's got in the past? How many pro se inmates we've had that have come through the institution? No, but I can tell you that, we could probably find plenty of examples if need be as to what people have received in the past. And it's nothing close to what she's requiring or requesting today.
Okay. Ma'am, with regard to your state, do you have any position with regard to any of these matters we've addressed? Okay, thank you. All right, ma'am. So with regard to your request as to the laptop, this jail will be able to accommodate your request, and those extensions will be provided as placed previously on the record. With regard to your request to hold the USB drives in your own personal lockup, for the reasons identified by counsel Chevenel, it's a matter of security and the protocol which secures, controls, inventories, and ensures in good working order the USB drives will be complied with, so that request will not be accommodated. Your request for a classroom similarly cannot be accommodated for the reasons identified by Captain DiGiovanni on the record. However, there is an alternative housing offer that can be provided for you. With regard to your request for headphones, that has been rejected and denied by virtue of legal counsel's argument and what is being provided to you. With regard to the internet, word processor, and telephone, again, For the reasons that counsel for Orange County has identified, those cannot be provided to you. The court does note that you do have the services of an investigator. And JAC provided you $10,000 and $1,000 for travel for your investigator. To the extent, as requested for the purposes of internet, for locating witnesses and experts, you have a personal private investigator that can utilize, who can do that for you. I know you've made requests previously to look at your phone to find contacts and information. You also have a private investigator who would accomplish some of those tasks for you. And those can be communications and conversations between yourself and to your investigator as to who and when and where and what persons you might be able to seek to find. So for those reasons regarding the headphones, internet, word processor, and telephone, based on arguments of counsel for Orange County, I'm unable to accommodate those requests. The jail is unable to accommodate those requests, and those requests will not be provided. With regard to the hard copies, that's going to have to be a matter, if it needs to be addressed, it can be readdressed with regard to the potential fire hazard. Captain DiGiovanni, would that still be an issue with regard to the fire hazard based on the amount of paper if Ms. Boone elected to move to the secured housing in the K dormitory?
Yeah, it's basically the Florida Model Jail Standard 7.12. The officer in charge or designee shall determine what personal items may be kept in the cell or stored with the inmate. However, an inmate shall be allowed to retain a reasonable amount of personal property, including but not limited to his or her legal material, personal hygiene items, writing paper, and writing instrument, and authorized reading materials in reasonable quantities as approved by the officer in charge or designee. Personal items will be kept in an orderly manner. Fire potential is reduced by limiting the amount of personal property in the cells. So it is the sheer volume of paper, and that is what I need to conduct an evaluation from. Now, in Ms. Boone's letter, if you give me one moment. In number 8, discovery hard copies, she writes the following: as I am presently, I can keep these in the permitted property bag discreetly located at my bunk. I will purge the documents I have now and keep only new discovery hard copies. The remaining I can send to the property department and will purge anything already being stored for easy convenience and extra space. I'm willing to see what she's going to purge and send to property, but at the end, I have to reduce any fire liability to the building in order to maintain security and safety for the 399 other inmates that I have here, along with the almost 100 or so assigned staff, civilian and certified. I will also say that pro se inmates in the past have been afforded a second fire retardant property bag, and I'm willing to issue a second fire retardant property bag to accommodate the excess, but anything over and above that, we may have to find an accommodation. And based on the willingness of the letter that Ms. Boone has written, she articulates clearly that she's willing to purge and send to property any paper that's over and above.
Do you have any questions?
And
no, go ahead.
And I
I'm
can
sorry.
have that second property bag upon her return this evening.
Okay. Ma'am, do you understand the second fire retardant bag that could be provided to you regarding the hard copies of the discovery?
I do, and it was already provided to me, but the boxes unfortunately do not fit in the bag, where I did attempt numerous times and even had others try to help me put it in the bag. I also did not know that they were fire retardant bags. I have the one already at my bunk, and I'm in the process of trying to figure out what needs to be purged. I also have my second family law case that I'm trying to be able to obtain those copies at my bunk as well, because of the difficulties of receiving and delivering anything to the property department, which is why I came up with the solution of me trying to purge what I can specifically, to be specifically removed from the jail completely by a friend who can come and pick that up. I was just waiting for this hearing to happen so I can figure out when to tell her to come to do so.
Probably the most shocking thing that has happened in this appearance is that she has friends? Is that true? That can't be true. Friends? That's the most shocking allegation that's happened so far in this hearing.
So is that accommodation acceptable?
It is. I returned the second fire retardant bag, property bag, because I didn't want to have anything extra on top of my extra already. And it is not able to be used for anything that I can put in there, where I already have everything in the boxes in the one bag already being occupied.
Are you satisfied then with regard to the treatment, for lack of a better?
I mean, I don't know how this works legally, but I'm not a fan of the judge asking her if she's satisfied. I don't give a shit if she's satisfied. Tell her what the law says, tell her what she gets, and fuck off. I mean, I know she's pro se, but just say, all right, no, motion denied, motion granted based on this. Are you satisfied? No, I don't like that.
Word of the hard copies?
What do you mean by that?
Sure. Are you, the procedure for having them stored and where they're kept is identified today? Is that acceptable to you?
Meaning I can have them where I have them now?
That's my understanding.
Judge, may I say something here?
Sure.
Okay, and thank you for allowing me the interruption. The cardboard boxes are not authorized by the fire marshal. The fire retardant bags are. So the documents are going to have to come out of the cardboard box and into the fire retardant bags.
Ms. Boone?
I would have to figure that out for the voluminous amount of paperwork that are contained in those two boxes. And there is no way to organize or separate. So it would just be a large mass amount of paper.
Wah, you can't organize all the papers. Wah, shut up. Figure it out. I'm so sick of her.
So if I may, in the meantime, try to come up with some type of organizational structure of those two fire retardant bags with my hard copy discovery enclosed in those. If I could please do so.
Mr. Chevenel,
Captain Giovanni, is there any way we can give her an additional bag or so and she can switch it in and out of property or whatever it may be? Can we provide her an additional bag that may help her to separate her documents?
I could provide the third fire retardant bag, but it's the encroachment into another inmate's area. It's a limited space. But the cardboard box can't remain. And Judge, if you recall my request, I had asked for all of this to be placed on a USB drive so that we would not have the paper in the jail for this very reason.
And I understand that. And Ms. Boone has continued to request the paper copies. And that's why everything was digitized, so that she would have that access to it. Everything has been digitized. But she has continued to request for those, and we're trying to make that accommodation for her as well. Yes.
Scott, if everything's digitized, why do we have to get the paper?
That's up to her if she wants paper or not. That's fine.
All right.
It was never my decision to have anything digitized in the first place, and nonetheless, it's being put on a laptop that is not even fully accessible because some of the programs do not work, which I have not had the time yet to continue to go through everything that are on the USB drives. And that being not my decision, and nonetheless, and most important to me, they are limited and restricted to particular time periods. When those laptop times are closed for the day, I can therefore pick up the hard copy discovery, be it in a fire retardant bag or in a cardboard box or whatever else it is that I'm able to keep them there at my bunk. I have that as Plan B when Plan A is closed.
Judge, if I might be able to offer a resolution here.
Okay, what do we got?
Was the discovery that Miss Boone received, was it just a stack of papers in the box, or was there any type of manila envelope or filing separation system?
I haven't looked at them. I haven't copied them. They were opened in court back in, I think, June 28th, when we had the hearing where the court found that Ms. Boone had forfeited her right to court-appointed counsel and alternatively have waived that right by virtue of her conduct. I believe the box was open at that time, and there may be manila folders for some of the items, but I can't speak to all of it. I haven't reviewed it. I'm not able to review it.
Would Miss Boone be able to indicate whether the paper is free-flowing paper, or was it bound in some way?
Ms. Cashman had represented that all staples had been removed and all paper clips had been removed. Ms. Boone,
It is a mass amount of paper.
are there dividers? Are there manila folders?
There, I believe, are 2 manila envelopes that have contents inside.
And everything else is just free paper?
As far as my understanding is, yes. I've not been able to fully dive into the boxes quite yet because of waiting for information for this. But I can further explore once I return back to the dorm.
I can provide some manila folders without any type of clasp or string in order to get the cardboard boxes out of the building.
I understand, and that would be appropriate. I don't know if I'm limited to a certain amount on top of the specified pen and papers I am able to have. My question is, I would like to know also, please, for the reasonable quantities that you quoted earlier in regards to the amount of paper, is that the definition that you provided, is that for the enclosed housing area, or is this also for general population?
Ma'am, I'm responsible for, based on the Florida model jail standards, to reduce the amount of paper clutter in all living spaces. It's not specific to just your housing unit.
Thank you. So
Captain DiGiovanni, does that now? Can she switch out and get things out of the property within reason if there's additional documents in her property?
Through the request form, if she, we're going to authorize the second fire retardant bag. We're going to offer some manila envelopes without a metal clasp or string, so that she could get everything into the fire retardant bags. And then we're going to remove the cardboard boxes, which are what becomes is the fire risk, because it is not authorized or recognized as a, fire retardant item based on the fire marshal. The only thing that they consider fire retardant is the bag, and again, I will provide that. And then anything in excess, she could send to the property room. Well, and then upon her need for it, she could write a request to the property room, and the property room will bring it over. But she'll have to swap it out. I'm amenable, I'm amenable to her keeping her documentation. I'm not looking to take anything away from her, but it has to be in accordance with, fire marshal and policy.
I understand, and I would be happy to comply with the extra bag and the manila envelopes for separators in regards to that.
Oh, would you be happy, Sarah? Oh, we're all so happy that you're happy, Sarah, because we're all here to make Sarah Boone happy. God, fuck her.
So ma'am, if the jail was to provide you those manila folders for the hard copies and a third fire retardant bag, is that acceptable?
It is if I do conclude that I need anything additional in order for them to be able to be held together in regards to some type of rubber band or some type elastic, something to be able to bind the paperwork together. Is that a possibility?
I didn't hear the question.
You may have to speak more clearly into the microphone in front of you, ma'am.
Would I be able to, please, if I needed, to have a type of rubber band or some kind of elastic in order to bind?
No.
And I know, Captain, that you are aware the courtroom is not in regards to the property bags that you all do supply. There's no rigidity to them whatsoever. It is just a floppy bag. So when you pick that up, everything goes in the middle. So there's no type of, there's no way of actually being able to make sure that one pile stays in the one pile and so on and so forth.
Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. I'm gonna fucking go to the thrift and get her a fucking trapper keeper and mail it to her just to get her to shut that hole in her face. It's not organized enough for me. I'm going to the thrift and getting her a fucking trapper keeper. Shut her fucking trap. Jeez, I'm so sick of this.
Do you have any suggestions other than manila folders that I might be able to utilize in order to keep those together?
The purpose of the manila envelopes is that you would put the paper in the manila envelope, and that manila envelope keep the paper in order.
Okay, so they're envelopes, not folders.
Correct.
Thank you.
Ma'am, is that acceptable to you? And is there anything else we need to address with regard to the hard copies?
Not in regards to the hard copies, no.
Okay, all right. Is there anything else, ma'am, that we need to address today, Ms. Boone?
Yes, please, if I may conclude with the remaining amount of questions that I have in regards to my requests.
Sure.
Is it Mr. Chevamel?
Yes.
Could you please provide me with the protocol or policy that you all have a guideline for me to follow, please, in regards to what previous pro se inmates may have had access to and be able to utilize? Do you have anything in writing as a hard copy?
No. He's not going to give you... Can you tell me what to do? Because I blew through 8 lawyers, and I don't know what I'm fucking doing. So could everyone in the courtroom not only give me just give me everything. Give me some advice. Tell me what to do. Tell me what other pro se attorneys pro se people have done. Because I don't know what the fuck I'm doing. That sucks for you, Sarah. That sucks for you. Suck it up, Buttercup. Figure it out. And if you can't, you're going to jail forever. Which you should be anyway. Shut up. Shut up.
Copy?
We'll have to check on that. Are you making a public records request?
I'm sorry?
Are you making a public records request?
I'm unclear of your question. I was just asking if Orange County Corrections Department had any type of guideline that you are accusing me of going above and beyond, other than the pen and paper. So I didn't know if you had a policy or process in, if you have a pro se packet, like JAC has a pro se packet. Does Orange County provide something like that?
You'd have to ask the jail that question. I don't know. I advise from a legal standpoint, and I can certainly tell the jail what the legal standard is. I'm not going to advise you as to what the law is, but I'll certainly advise the jail as to what the legal standard is.
Yes, please. Captain, I would be responding to you in regards to that or following up with you, or Sergeant DeJesus.
Ma'am, we don't have any access to that. I don't know anything about what other inmates that are currently pro se get other than that laptop and the information transferred to a USB drive.
Yes, ma'am, thank you. And Mr. Shabamel, you repeated that I have access to the court. Could you please define to me what your access to the court is for me?
Yeah, I'm going to object. I'm not a witness in this case. I'm really counsel for the jail, so it's really not appropriate to ask me questions. I know I've entertained a few, but I'm really not required to answer any.
Ma'am, he's not in a position to answer those questions.
Could you please answer who might be able to? Because I am in desperate need to view the case docket, which requires internet, and I am still waiting for any documents that you have mailed to me. I am unprepared, it seems, every single time now.
Guess whose fault that is, you idiot? Oh, you don't get it?
Here at the counselor's table with not the same information and opportunity and advantage as everyone else in the courtroom because I'm waiting for the mail. So I didn't know if anyone had any other suggestion of how I might be able to receive those more expeditiously and in a timely fashion so I can be prepared in order to properly defend myself in apparently more than one way for every time that I'm here in the courtroom and something new is presented to me as a surprise. So I'm just trying to avoid those.
Items will continue to be mailed to you at the appropriate address as required by the rules of judicial administration and general practice.
So if I may please clarify, my understanding is the only way that I can receive anything is through United States Postal Service.
I'm not going to answer that question because that would be me potentially providing you legal advice. But what I can tell you is that items will still continue to be mailed to you as required by those rules.
If I may please just make sure that everyone is aware that I cannot be properly prepared, as you can see now and prior. I just want to make sure that everyone is aware and understands that.
Ma'am, for the reasons that we've discussed previously, I understand that. You're entitled to that opinion as to your pro se representation of yourself. Anything else that we need to address today? Ma'am?
Yes, I have a motion that I would like to submit, please.
Okay.
Of course there's more.
Is there anything else that the jail needs to participate in with regard to this hearing?
Captain, would I be following up with you, or who would I be speaking to when I return to the dorm?
In regards to what?
I'm wondering in regards to the guideline and when and how the discovery hard copies, will the property bags be waiting for me when I return?
I will take care of that with my supervisors that are on shift.
Yes.
We will need the cardboard box so that we can dispose of that properly.
Yes, ma'am. And if I may, do you know why it was not approved prior when a supervisor was the one who delivered it to me?
I have no information about even the amount of hard copies. I didn't even know that that came into the jail because my conversation has always been that everything would be digitized and that we would have no hard copies so I could be in compliance with the Florida Model Jail Standards, Orange County Fire Marshal, and our policies and procedures regarding excess amount of paper.
Yes, ma'am, I understand. Thank you very much for your time. And Sergeant DeJesus and Mr. Shabamel.
Okay, are they free to leave?
Yes, thank you.
State? All right, thank you all very much.
Right.
Ma'am, you made reference to another motion or something else that you had.
Yes, I have a motion.
Okay, if you can hand it to the deputy behind you. Actually, Deputy, can you hand it to the state? State, you can take a look at it, and then I will.
State, take a look at the stick figures. Her motion is just a stick figure in a jail, and it says, and then it has it with the motion is a stick figure in the jail with the frowny face, and then a stick figure outside with the sun shining, smiling, and then it says, "Can we please let me leave jail?"
right, ma'am, give me a moment to take a look at this. Court has the defendant and provided a motion for. Court has been provided a motion for payment of costs and appointing a neuropsychologist to assist the defendant in preparation of the defense.
A neuropsychologist?
State? I don't think we can have a hearing on this without JICS.
State takes no position. We don't have anything to do with this.
Okay. Ma'am, I can't have a hearing on this today. I will have to coordinate a hearing with regard with JACS to have this heard because this is something that involves them.
Correct.
And they haven't even had the opportunity to review it yet.
And they are copied on that as well.
I do see that, but you're hand filing it with me right now.
Correct, thank you.
So the court will file this in the court file and we'll coordinate a hearing as soon as practical with regard to this motion, and it'll be heard before the end of this week. Anything else, ma'am?
Just to confirm, please, for the next deadline for my responsibility to meet would be the August 23rd for the objections to the state's USB drive that they provided.
As identified in the court's order, that is the deadline. The only other deadline, ma'am, is the September 3rd deadline for the viewing of the state's physical evidence, which sounds like that's something that may take place prior to that deadline. As you may recall, you will have 14 days after that evidence viewing to tender any of your objections in writing to the court, 14 days thereafter, and that will be extended for good cause shown. Anything else, State?
Not from the state.
Ma'am, anything else?
No, Your Honor.
All right, we'll return Ms. Boone back to the custody of the Orange County Jail, and we'll coordinate the hearing appropriately. Thank you all very much.
Forgive me. In order possibly for a solution for me to know about the hearing, especially for the one regarding the JAC, is it possible for you please to relay it to Mr. Lane and he can tell me sooner than the mail?
I can certainly do that.
Going forward, so I would have some opportunity quicker than waiting for the mail?
I can certainly advise him of that, or my office can. Sure. Okay, I understand. All right, just so for recap purposes, with regard to the motions to intervene as first addressed this afternoon, the court orders that the defendant has failed to meet the burden of producing evidence and proving by a greater weight of the evidence that closure is necessary as required by Miami Herald Publishing Co. versus Lewis, 426 Southern 2nd, 1 at pinpoint 8 by the Florida Supreme Court 1982. As such, the defendant's requested closure of the state's physical evidence viewing with the state and defendant set for September 3, 2024 at 9 a.m. is denied. With regard to the other items that were discussed today, defendant and state agreed to an alternative arrangement as placed on the record on August 14, 2024 regarding the viewing of the state's physical evidence as tendered in open court on August 9, 2024. The state shall prepare for all parties to execute a notice reflecting when the evidence viewing took place and the length of time that the evidence viewing took place. The state shall file with the court the executed notice after the viewing of the state's physical evidence takes place. Defendant's request regarding extending the laptop time has been agreed to by Orange County. The times have been extended as follows: Sunday through Thursday, 8 p.m. to 10 p.m., and Friday and Saturday, 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. This is in addition to the times outlined in the memorandum from the Orange County Corrections Department Security Operations, which was previously provided to Ms. Boone and read to Ms. Boone. Defendant's request regarding the discovery that was provided to the court on June 28, 2024, and keeping that discovery in defendant's possession was addressed to defendant's satisfaction on the record on August 14, 2024, and the balance of defendant's requests cannot be accommodated for the reasons placed on the record on August 14, 2024. Ms. Boone, you'll be given a hard copy or hand-delivered a copy of these orders momentarily.
Thank you.
All right, anything else? Anything else, ma'am?
No, Your Honor.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Well, thank you everyone for watching this. If you're into meditation, I suggest that at this point. Maybe, well, let's just see here. All right, it's over. Maybe some blood pressure medication, um, maybe some schmalcohol, maybe some of the devil's lettuce, because boy, is she infuriating. I'm just so sick of her. Sorry about this breaking up midway. My computer is dumb. Thank you all for the. I've never had as many compliments about my hair and looks ever as this stream. I don't know why. I'm at my mom's house. All I did was take a shower and comb my hair, take care, brush her hair. That's all I did. I don't know what happened today, but thank you for all the kind words. I'm gonna be back at 6:30 Eastern, doing a rewatch of the Charlie Adelson trial. If you want to join me at 6:30, Bob Opedic, Bobby Digital, will be covering the Telus trial at 2, I think 2, right, 2 Eastern. So Bob will be covering Telus. I will be back at 6:30 Eastern to do a rewatch of the Charlie Adelson trial. It'll be about an hour and 15 minutes, hour and a half. Not a long stream, but I'll be back at 6:30 Eastern for the Charlie Adelson rewatch to prepare us for Donna Adelson. And again, Bob will be covering Tellus. So make sure you're subscribed to Defense Diaries. If you're not already, I'll share the link here. And he will be covering that trial, which I believe is at 2 Eastern, 11 Pacifically. You know what I'm saying? Pacifically. Oh, thanks, Spitfire. Hey. Thank you all so much for the support today. Thank you so much for being here. And I'll catch you at 6:30 Eastern if you want to watch that. And thank you, mods, as always. We're glad you found this channel too. Thank you to all the new folks. If you're a lurker, by the way, say hi. Best chat in the land, best folks around. And thank you for everyone for the birthday wishes for my mom. I really appreciate that. And I think that's it. So thank you so much, everybody.
Thank you for joining us, J-Bo Nation. Please give all of yourselves an ovation. No, it won't be real long until next time. Oh, J-Bo Nation, there's no place we'd rather be. J-Bo Nation is the place to be. J-Bo Nation is the place to be. J-Bo Nation is the place to be. J-Bo Nation is the